Next habit that all skinny people do and all lean people do to help them keep themselves lean year round is eating what we call low calorie, high volume foods. This is by far one of my favorite hacks for losing weight and making weight loss sustainable, right? We don't want to lose weight for a short period of time. We want to lose weight for literally the rest of our lives. We want to be lean, we want to feel good, and low calorie, high volume foods will easily allow you to do that. So let's talk about why these specific types of food work for weight loss and keeping you lean. So there is a low amount of energy in these foods, right? We just talked about low calorie. Calories are essentially a form of energy, right? The more calories we eat, the more energy our body gets. Unfortunately, if we eat too much energy, have too many calories, that excess energy gets stored as body fat. So when we're talking about low calorie foods, we're specifically picking foods that are a little bit lower in energy. So that's the step one. We need foods that are really lower in energy. But we also need foods that are very high in volume too. Now, high in volume simply means that they can fill us up. They're high in satiety. They make us feel full for long periods of time, right? So when we pick foods that are lower in calorie, they don't have that much energy, right? And they make us feel full quicker. Does that not sound like the perfect recipe for making weight loss super, super easy? Well, that's exactly what most people do, and I myself personally do as well. That helps me stay very, very lean. So an example of a low calorie, high volume food would be a salad with a lot of protein and veggies. Salad, just in general, has a very low amount of calories. Veggies, very low amount of calories. Protein, even, for the most part, has very low amount of calories. But think about it. The amount of fullness, the amount of volume you get from eating that much food, you might only be consuming 200, 300, 400 calories in that huge giant salad, especially if you're really light with the dressing. And you're going to feel so full that you might not even want to eat again for the rest of the day. Now, this is just one example of them, but lean protein and veggies when paired together in multiple variations, maybe you're making fajitas, maybe you're just doing regular, let's just say chicken and veggies. I do that a lot. I actually get whole chickens from Costco. They're $5, super cheap there. I think Sam's Club is pretty cheap too. So if you do have memberships to either of those, very good ideas to get some very cheap protein, low calorie, high volume foods. And then of course too, you might be thinking, okay, I don't want to eat that all the time. So when it comes to snacks too, popcorn is very, very low in calories and high volume. This is of course assuming you don't add in a bunch of extra butter to it too. If you do add in a bunch of extra butter, that is going to make it a lot more calorie dense and not really make it quite that low calorie, high volume food we look for. I also like sugar-free puddings and sugar-free Jello too. Those are really, really low in calorie, but when you eat a little bit of them, they're going to fill you up. They're very high in volume. A good hack when thinking about high volume foods that are also low in calorie is to try to find things that are the most full of water. So anything high in water, this is of course fruits and vegetables. Lean meats are very high in water because meat is literally muscle and muscle is very high in water. Some of those sugar-free options usually are very high in water. You need water in pudding and water in Jello, right, to make it. Basically, the more water, the better. Of course, you could just drink some extra water before your meals too. That's going to help as well. So why do these specific foods work really, really well to get us to a calorie deficit? Of course, we talked about these are extremely hard to overeat. Now, the last time I made one of these huge salads, I actually made it in conjunction with another meal. I like eating a lot of food with my meals, so I usually have to take a break when I'm eating these really low calorie, high volume foods, like those huge salads with protein. And I sometimes don't even get to my main course, right? So the really cool thing about this is that it can often lead to you losing weight without counting calories, because you a lot of times are just innately eating less because the food is so low in calories anyway and so high in volume, you just don't even want to eat more, right? So let's take a look at some of the opposite foods on the opposite spectrum of this that can give you some good insight into what you should try to avoid, or at least moderate in a very small number. So the opposite types of foods are going to, of course, be high in calories and low in overall volume. So something like fried chicken, super high in calories, but you might only be getting a little bit of piece of chicken for what, 400 calories? Okay, let's look at Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts are a great example of an opposite food because one Pop-Tart, just one square, is 200 calories. You know, if you eat an actual package of Pop-Tarts, that's 400 calories. And I eat a package of Pop-Tarts at 400 calories and I literally feel zero fullness. I feel like I could eat an entire box of Pop-Tarts. So that's a great example of a food that is high calorie, low in volume. Sugary drinks, of course, like sodas. You could drink one of those and guess what? You're set back 140 calories and you basically didn't even take in anything. Your body's like, oh, just a little bit of liquid, right? It doesn't satisfy you at all. And that's a super huge problem when we're trying to lose weight. Sandwiches too, this is just another example. Sandwiches or casserole dishes with a lot of sauces or lots of extra cheese or high fat options. All of these things should be eaten in severe moderation. Of course, realizing you can eat them, but it's going to leave a huge dent in your calories for the day. And once you leave that huge dent in the calories for the day, you're going to be sitting and suffering because you ate all the amount of calories you need. Maybe, 2,500 calories is your goal for the day. And if you ate all of that up by lunchtime, guess what? You're going to be waiting the entire rest of the day and you're not going to be able to eat anything else. So some things to consider, but those low calorie, high volume foods are an incredibly potent way to make weight loss super, super easy. Go ahead and give this video a like so far if you're getting some good value from it.